Hello Be Thinkers, and welcome again to this channel. And just because we are thinkers, I'm going to be starting off today's conversation with a question. Have you ever wondered why you act the way you act? And if the way you act starts with a thought? This conversation is going to be around your thinking process, how powerful your thoughts are you really your thoughts, and how you can actually get a hold of your thoughts. Trust me, this is going to be a very interesting conversation because it's a conversation that will touch the soul and cause a mindset shift. So come along with me if you like what you hear. I really want us to understand what thinking is and what happens when we think. So I tell you a story. The other day I was at the mall in the parking lot. Parked beside me was another car. In that car was a guy smoking. And the thought came up in me. The thought was, what if I come out of the mall and my car has been stolen by this guy parked beside me, the guy in the car that was parked beside me. I paused when that thought came up and I pondered a bit about it. I observed it, and at the end of the day, when I went into the mall and I was coming back out of the mall, the guy that was in the car was the one that approached me in front of the mall and asked me, "Hey miss, is the mall closed?" And I'm like, "Oh no, it's not closed, you can still go in." And when I go back into the parking lot, my car was still there, amazingly. Yeah, so let's move away a bit from that because I'm going to tell you what I did in that car when that thought came up. In simple terms, thinking is a way of talking to yourself. It is that inner voice that analyzes, that sorts, that solves, that questions, that imagines things to you silently or sometimes aloud. Just in the case of the story that I shared with you earlier, my thoughts or my thinking process came to me silently while I interacted with it. However, to some people, it is a different ball game. Their thinking process comes to them aloud. That is why you hear some people while they're thinking, they talk to themselves aloud. It's not that they are mentally unstable, no. It is just because of the way their thinking process comes to them. Alright, so be thinkers, have you ever had your mind whisper questions to you like, why did they talk to me like that? I have an idea. What if things goes wrong? The what if that you hear your mind whispers to you, either silently or aloud, is your thinking process. Isn't that interesting? I bet it is. Did you know that everyone has about 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts a day, and about 2,500 to 3,300 in an hour? And also, this is a rough guess, I'm not exactly sure of this calculation, but between 43 to 55 thoughts in a minute. That is a lot. That is a lot. What do you do with those thoughts? What exactly do you do with those lot of thoughts that happens to you in a day? Given that those thoughts can actually be repetitive, they can be negative, they can be unchecked. And being unchecked means that you don't really ponder on them, right? They just come and like a flash and go. So what do you do with so much thought? And what also forms those thoughts? Let's talk about the things that forms those thoughts. Talk about the genes, how you were formed, the temperament, and things like that. Let's also talk about your upbringing, your caregivers, how they dealt with you, how they treated you, actually help to form your thoughts. And talk about your environment, your culture, your religion, your school, your social media feeds. This also has great impact on how you think, right? And remember we actually talked about those three things in the previous video right? When we talked about the formation of you, the building of you, exactly, those are the things that forms you, and your thought is actually that powerful thing behind your human behavior. See, your thinking process is not just the words that goes on in your head. They are the instructions that is being passed to your nervous system and makes you act the way you act. Every behavior starts with the thoughts. Thoughts influences emotions and emotions drive actions, which is your behavior. Scientific studies in cognitive behavioral psychology show that repeated thoughts form your neural pathways, and that is to mean that the more you think of a certain way, the easier it becomes of you to think that way again. This is how habits of thinking are generally formed and reinforced. See, if you constantly think that you're not good enough, which is one of the thoughts that human beings actually experience, that you're not good enough, your brain eventually accepts that this is true. Even if it is not, your brain has no way of saying, of selecting the truth and the lie, right? So your brain accepts it that it is true. Think of your mind like a garden, where you have the positive thoughts are seeds that grow confidence, resilience, and compassion, and the negative thoughts, which is the weeds that choke out peace, clarity, and joy. Just because we are thinkers on this channel, I'm going to pose a question out to you. And if you know the right answer, it's either a yes or a no. Please drop it in the comment section so we can discuss further right from there. The question is, are you your thoughts? Are you really your thoughts? If the answer to you is a yes or a no, don't forget I said you should drop it in the comment section. So my response to this is you are simply not your thoughts. So if you are not your thoughts, who are you? You are that observer that observes the flow of your thoughts. You're that powerful being that stays back and allow your thoughts come in while you reflect, analyze, or action on your thoughts. Think about it. If you're really the observer of your thoughts, how can you then really be your thoughts? So if you doubt this, remember I said drop your comments in the comment section where we both can discuss this a little bit further for more clarity. So I will be looking forward to it. Thank you. Alright, so let's go back to the story I was sharing with you earlier on how I was able to connect with my thoughts, observe it, and made a decision to help me action on the thoughts. So while I was in the car and the thoughts came in, I relaxed and observed the thoughts, and I asked myself, is this actually true? Is this coming to me out of fear? Is it coming to me out of judgment? Is it coming to me out of past memory? And that was when I remembered that a friend of mine had shared with me how a car was being stolen in the parking lot. But she did not share that it was the person that was right beside her that stole the car. But my thoughts played that out to me because I had someone beside me that was parked and was smoking. And that was just my interpretation of that experience and how my brain or my thoughts was making it look real that it can happen to me. Then I became logical. Can this happen to me right now? And what can I do to avert it? So I said, since it is my thoughts that is playing that out to me, what can I do? Even if I move my car and go to the next row to park, if it's still going to be stolen, it's still going to be stolen, right? So I did what I just needed to do. I switched off the car engine, got off the car, ensured that I locked the car, and went into the mall to do what I needed to do in the month. I actually went in there to have some fun. I love to go shopping. Not shopping. What is that? Window shopping, right? But really, I think I went into that store to go sample some products, which I did. I went in there and I enjoyed what I did and came back. And while I was coming back, it was this same person that approached me respectfully and asked me if the mall was closed, right? And I responded and I left. So on getting back into the parking lot, I saw my car smiling back at me and saying, "Lady, are you ready for a smooth ride back home?" And that was how I was able to analyze and action on that thought. So the next time you have a thought flowing through you or an emotion, let's talk about the emotion, an emotion of anger, rage, of what have you coming through you, be willing to pause and ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? Why am I having this? Why am I getting angry? Or why is this anxiety of a feeling coming into me right now? So if you have a thought, be more than willing to sit with it and ask yourself questions. Questions like, why is this thought coming to me? Is this thought coming to me based on fear, based on judgment, based on future expectations or past memories? Why is this thought coming to me? Be logical about it. Is this thought even true? Does it have facts to back it up? Right? Is this thought holding me down or pushing me forward? Because there are so many thoughts, negative thoughts, that can actually hold you back. And I know that that is actually happening to a lot of people, and that is one of the reasons why this channel is being created or is being launched. So take your time, sit with your thoughts. If you need to write it down, if you need to think about it before you action on it, because guess what? When you action on your thoughts, that is what makes you you, and that is what people perceive you as. If you take a pause on your thoughts, it can actually change the trajectory of your day, and who knows, eventually your life. We're almost coming to the end of this video, but before we go, let's do a quick recap on what we've been able to discuss. We've been able to talk about your thinking process. We've also talked about how powerful your thought is and what forms your thought. We also talked about, are you really your thoughts? And lastly, how you can get a hold of your thoughts. So this is actually getting interesting, and these are things that if you pay attention to them, your thoughts, analyze them, you would be able to break free from those thoughts that are limiting you. So if you like what you hear, as I am enjoying the moment with you, join me in the next video where we'll be discussing signs that shows that you are stuck in negative thoughts and how you can break from it. See you then. Bye for now.